So today what we're going over is we are going to go over sanitization and lab equipment. What kind of lab equipment you might see, including some chemicals, and what does sanitization mean? And so sanitization means you're reducing the number of microbes. And so we can do that at different levels. And so let's look at those. So the different levels are sanitation, disinfection, and sterilization. Easy way to remember it, sanitize is what you use on your hands, the hand sanitizer. What that means is you are reducing the number of microbes on a surface. That's all you're doing. It's the weakest of the antimicrobials. And a common thing that people use is bleach. And so to put it in perspective, it's 1 capful of bleach per gallon of water. The next level is disinfection. This reduces the number of microbes to a point below the level of sanitizing so that the number of microbes is extremely low. And this would be like 1/4 of a cup of bleach. And then sterilization, the third level, that is like complete kill. You're like trying to get rid of all the microbes, all the viruses, and think of a surgical room. And so as you move from sanitization to disinfection to sterilization, the types of chemicals get stronger and stronger as you move up the chain. And so if we look at soap as an example, soap is a fine sanitation tool. Soap disrupts the cells because that's what soap does. And so it breaks apart the lipids and it breaks apart the cell membranes. It also allows it to where the cells can't stick to surfaces. So if you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, you might want to just sanitize the counter afterwards with a soap and water solution. If you're cutting up raw chicken on your countertop, you probably want to move into the next level of disinfection. I would sanitize first to reduce the number, and then disinfect with 1/4 cup per gallon of cool water. Important to use cool water because, as we all know from being at the swimming pool, chlorine smells. And if you heat chlorine up, it comes out of the water better. So cool water will keep the bleach in the water and allow that to work. And sterilization is really what you're going to see when you're in a surgical unit or looking at surgical tools or stuff like that. So you'll notice right here that I used 1 capful of bleach per gallon of water, and then I used 1/4 cup. So that's going to allow us to move right into our measures. So when you're measuring stuff in the food services, it's pretty much volume or weight. Volume or weight. I'm going to teach you a new word here too. Maybe it's a new word, maybe it's not. And so this is a hair, like a rabbit, right? And so to tare, say it the same way, tare hair, is to zero something out. And so if you are weighing something, you want to tear it out. You want to zero out the scale. And so if you're measuring the volume of something, the volume is the quantity in a three-dimensional space. And so this could be like a cup or a teaspoon. A lot of times, volume measurements describe the vessel that it's in. And so one of the teaspoon, a cup. Dry volumes such as flour is usually weighed this way, 1/2 cup of flour. You could also use weight, 250 grams of flour. But a volume is usually, it describes the vessel that it's in. So it could be a liter, and it also could be an ounce of whiskey. Or you can have a weight ounce, but you can have a volume ounce, which might look like that. A barrel. One of the weirdest ones is a hogshead. And so someone actually calculated the volume of a hogshead. And so if you have a cup of flour, you can probably approximate that cup of flour and turn it into a weight. And the weights, they can be in pounds, grams, tons. So there's all different kinds of units. And so when you guys are taking a measurement, whether it's in A volume, it's going to be one of the two, volume or weight. Make sure you write the units down, because 2 doesn't mean anything. But 2 hogsheads of wine makes sense to me. Or 2 pounds of fish makes sense to me. And so make sure that you write the units down. And then also be aware of where the decimal point is. And so if it's 1.2 pounds, that means you're measuring within 1 pound. You're measuring, your sensitivity is smaller than one of the pounds. Always write down your units and the decimal points. And here's are all kinds of different things. Here's these are spring scales right here where you can hang something from it. But again, you would tear it out. Hair tear. Hair tear. You would tear it out. If you put an empty cup right here, you would tear it out, and then you would add your liquid to it, and then you would get the weight, and then you would write the weight down in whatever unit you were looking at. Make sense? Volumes and weights. So let's pretend that we spill 1 cup of bleach. No big deal. On your hand. Bigger deal. On your arm. Bigger deal. On your face. Bigger deal. In your eyes. Bigger deal. It gets in your mouth. Bigger deal. What do you do? Now, this is not a first aid class, but one of the things that you can do, if you spilled 1 cup of bleach, you can look up what that chemical is in something, this is very important, in an MSDS sheet. Material Safety Data Sheet. MSDS. Please remember this. This could save somebody's life or really help you out in the long run. You spill bleach. When you're employed somewhere, most places or every facility should have these things right here, which are MSDS sheets. MSDS. You can also probably more easily look it up on your phone. If you type in bleach plus MSDS, what is going to pop up is a standardized form, and this one is for bleach right here. This is a standardized form. So we spill bleach. This is a standardized form. First aid procedures. Eye may cause irreversible eye damage. Contact with liquid is corrosive to the eyes and causes severe burns. Skin causes severe burns. Ingestion may cause all this other stuff. Inhalation, harmful if inhaled. And so you, as a employee somewhere, have a right to know what chemicals you're working with. And the way you can look that up is MSDS. If you're cleaning the bottom of someone's boat and they want you to use methyl ethyl ketone to get the paint off, and then someone says that it's no big deal, I've been using it my whole life, it doesn't hurt you, look it up. Look up methyl ethyl ketone plus MSDS, and it will pull up pages upon pages of stuff like this. Something just as easy, something as simple as chocolate. Let's look up chocolate. If we look up chocolate, organic dust. This is chocolate. It's a class 2B eye irritant. Maybe a mechanical eye irritant, which means it's not going to do a whole lot of harm. It tells you what to do. Rinse your eyes for several minutes. Avoid breathing the dust. Here's an interesting thing. There's an explosion hazard. If you have a lot of this fine cocoa powder in the air and someone lights a cigarette or something, you could combust that whole thing. So MSDS. Please remember that. I think it's one of the more important things to look at, and it's a way you can truly see what kind of chemical you're dealing with. So again, please remember that MSDS. So, in a nutshell, there's 8 categories of seafood. And within that, 30% of our finfish are overexploited. What that means is there's no more fish to catch. That's why aquaculture is making such a big making such a big presence in our marketplace. And so they're trying to satisfy the protein demands. The fish that is caught, most is sold fresh. When it's sold fresh, we have to be able to measure the quality because it's fresh, means never been frozen, so we have to measure it. And the way we do this is through organoleptic evaluations. Or we can use things such as BIA, which you'll see, to measure quality. When you catch a fish, it's best to kill that thing as quick as possible. And the way to do that is a blunt knock between the eyes. And then you want to chill that fish to delay rigor mortis, and you can also delay quality problems. Chilling slows that stuff down. The way to do that is using different types of ice. You can use slush ice, block ice, flake ice. There's no such thing as compact ice. Once that fish goes to the seafood processor, it gets processed into different kinds of cuts. A J cut has those pin bones already removed. Candling is when you look through the fish to try and pull out the nematode parasites. And then once you have that fillet, you can do things such as freezing, salting, brining. You can do all the above. Extends the shelf life of the fish. And there is a difference between sanitization, disinfecting, and sterilizing. You sanitize your hands, you disinfect the countertop, and you sterilize the surgical room. And you can see how different amounts of bleach measured as a volume or as a weight can be used to do that. And so pretty much you're measuring a volume or a weight. Make sure that you put the units on there. And you tear out a scale, meaning you zero it out. So you can put a cup on it, tear it out, add the liquid to it, and then you can get a measurement from it. You have a right to know what chemicals you're working with. And the way to look that up is through MSDS sheets. MSDS. That is how you really know what the chemical is and how harmful it can be to you. And so thank you very much. This concludes part 4, and good luck on the test.